The warning. The black void of space stretched endlessly in all directions. Stars blinked like tiny diamonds scattered across an infinite canvas. But in this peaceful darkness, something dangerous was approaching. Commander Thraz stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Fang. His purple skin reflected the glow of 100 control panels. His 4 eyes scanned the data streaming across the screens. Behind him, 300 warships waited for his orders. The entire fleet spread out like a wall of metal and firepower. "Sir, we are approaching the human border," his navigator announced nervously. Thraz smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Good. Finally, we will add Earth to our empire." The Zalthar Empire had conquered 47 star systems. 47 worlds had fallen to their power. 47 civilizations now served under their rule. Earth would be number 48. "Commander, we are receiving a transmission," the communications officer said. "Put it on screen." A simple message appeared. Just text, no face, no voice. Only words in plain white letters against a black background. "Warning, do not cross this line. Turn back now." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member stared at the message. Then Thraz laughed, a deep booming laugh that echoed through the ship. His officers looked at each other uncertain, but slowly they began to laugh too. "Did you see that?" Thraz said, wiping tears from his eyes. "They warn us. These tiny humans think they can warn the Zalthar Empire." "Sir," his tactical officer spoke carefully, "perhaps we should consider..." "Consider what?" Thraz snapped. "Humans have no empire. They have one small planet, one. We have 47 worlds. Their entire fleet is probably 10 ships, maybe 20. "But sir, other races have told us..." "I know what they told us," Thraz interrupted. "Stories, legends, fear tactics. The Krell told us not to attack humans. The Vrak said the same thing. Even the old Confederation warned us." He leaned forward. "Do you know what I think? I think humans spread these stories themselves. They make others afraid so no one attacks them." The tactical officer nodded slowly but didn't look convinced. "Send a response," Thraz ordered. "Tell them we are coming. Tell them to surrender now, and we will be merciful." The communications officer typed the message and sent it. They waited. 1 minute passed, then 5, then 10. No response came. "They are too afraid to even answer," Thraz declared. "Prepare the fleet for invasion. All ships move forward." "Sir!" A new officer rushed onto the bridge. "We just received an emergency transmission from the Krell ambassador." "What do they want?" They are begging us to turn back. The ambassador says he must speak with you immediately." Thraz sighed. "Put him through." The screen changed. An old Krell appeared, his scaled face tight with worry. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Commander Thraz, please listen to me. I have served as ambassador for 60 years. I have seen things you cannot imagine. Do not cross that border." "Ambassador, with respect, your time has made you weak." "No!" the Krell shouted. Tears formed in his ancient eyes. 40 years ago, the Vortan Empire tried what you are doing. They sent their entire fleet, 5,000 ships, across Earth's border. Do you know what happened? Thraz said nothing. "They disappeared," the Krell whispered. "Every single ship. 5,000 warships gone in one day. Not destroyed, not captured, simply gone, like they never existed. We found nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no trace." "Lies," Thraz said coldly. "I wish they were lies. I wish I could tell you they were lies." The Krell's voice broke. "Please, I am begging you as someone who has lived too long and seen too much death. Turn your fleet around. Earth's border is not a joke. It is not a challenge. It is a graveyard." "We are done here," Thraz said. He cut the transmission. The bridge remained quiet. Some officers stared at their screens. Others looked at their commander, waiting. "Superstitions," Thraz announced. "Old races become afraid of everything. They see danger in shadows. We are Zalthar. We do not fear warnings from humans or stories from old fools." He pointed at the view screen, where a thin red line glowed in space. "Earth's border. All ships advance. Maximum speed. We cross the border in 10 minutes." The fleet moved forward like a swarm of metal locusts. 300 ships carrying 20,000 soldiers, armed with weapons that could destroy continents. They approached the red line, closer, closer. 5 minutes to the border, sir." Thraz stood straight, proud. This would be his greatest victory. 2 minutes, sir." The crew held their breath. 1 minute, sir. Prepare weapons. On my mark. They crossed the line. For exactly 3 seconds, everything seemed normal. Then every screen went black. Sir, we've lost contact with the fleet. Navigation is down. Life support failing. Sir, help us. Sir, the communications officer tried to send a distress signal. His fingers flew across the controls. He managed to transmit 4 words. We see nothing here. Then static. Then silence. In the empty void of space, 300 ships drifted across Earth's border. And on Earth, millions of miles away, a young human soldier sat at her post watching her screen. She pressed a button. Border breach detected. Defense protocol activated. She took a sip of coffee and waited. The Zalthar fleet would never be seen again. The silent zone 48 hours had passed since the Zalthar fleet crossed Earth's border. 48 hours of complete silence. Not a single transmission. Not one distress call. Nothing. In the throne room of the Zalthar homeworld, Emperor Vaxor paced back and forth like a caged animal. His silver robes dragged across the polished floor. His 6 advisors stood in a line, heads bowed, afraid to speak. How? The Emperor finally said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard the rage beneath it. How does an entire fleet simply vanish? Your Majesty, the Chief Admiral spoke carefully. We believe there may be a technical malfunction. Perhaps a solar storm disrupted their communications. For 48 hours, across 300 ships, the Emperor's voice rose. Are you telling me that 300 separate communication systems all failed at exactly the same moment? The Admiral said nothing. Send scouts, the Emperor ordered. Small, fast ships. I want to know what happened to Commander Thraz and his fleet. I want answers, now. Within the hour, 5 scout ships launched from the nearest Zalthar military base. These were not warships. They were small, designed for speed and stealth. Each carried only 3 crew members. Captain Renz commanded the lead scout ship, the Shadow Eye. He was older than most scouts, with scars across his face from 20 years of dangerous missions. He had survived pirate attacks, asteroid storms, and radiation zones. But as they approached Earth's border, his hands shook on the controls. Captain, his co-pilot said softly, the red line is ahead. Commander Thraz's fleet crossed at this exact location. Renz nodded. Scan for any ships. Maximum range. The scanner beeped and hummed. Then it lit up like a festival display. Captain, I'm reading 300 contacts. All of them right past the border. The fleet, Renz breathed. They're still there. Open a channel. Try to contact them. His communications officer tried every frequency. Every channel. Every emergency band silenced. Nothing, sir. No response at all. Maybe they can't transmit, but they can receive, Renz said. Send this message. This is Scout Team Alpha to Crimson Fang. Commander Thraz, please respond. The Emperor has sent us to assist you. They waited. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No answer came from any of the 300 ships. Sir, the co-pilot said, his voice barely a whisper. What do we do? Renz stared at the red line on his screen. Every instinct told him to run, to turn around and never look back. But the Emperor wanted answers. We crossed the border, he said. Slow approach. Weapons ready. If anything happens, we retreat immediately. Understood? Yes, sir. The 5 scout ships moved forward in tight formation. They crossed the invisible line that marked Earth's territory. Nothing happened. Systems normal, the co-pilot reported. Life support good. Engines good. Weapons online. Renz let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Proceed to the fleet. Stay alert. As they flew closer, the 300 warships appeared on their view screens. They hung in space like frozen ghosts. Not moving, not firing, just floating. That's strange, the scanner operator said. I'm reading power signatures from all the ships. Their reactors are still running, but there's no engine activity, no weapon activity, nothing. The scout ships circled the massive fleet like tiny insects around sleeping giants. Try to contact them again, Renz ordered. Crimson Fang. This is Scout Team Alpha. Commander Thraz, can you hear us? Still nothing. Sir, I recommend we board one of the ships, the co-pilot suggested. We need to see what's inside. Renz didn't want to. Every cell in his body screamed danger, but they needed answers. Dock with the nearest destroyer. Prepare boarding equipment. The Shadow Eye attached itself to a Zalthar destroyer called Dark Thunder. Wrens and 4 soldiers put on their spacesuits and entered through the airlock. The lights inside the ship were on. The air was breathable. Everything looked normal except there was no crew. "Where is everyone?" one soldier whispered. They walked through empty corridors. The control panels still glowed. Screens showed data. A half-eaten meal sat on a table in the crew quarters, still warm. "It's like they just disappeared," another soldier said. Part 2. The silent zone. 48 hours had passed since the Zalthar fleet crossed Earth's border. 48 hours of complete silence. Not a single transmission. Not one distress call. Nothing. In the throne room of the Zalthar homeworld, Emperor Vaxa paced back and forth like a caged animal. His silver robes dragged across the polished floor. His 6 advisors stood in a line, heads bowed, afraid to speak. "How?" the Emperor finally said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard the rage beneath it. "How does an entire fleet simply vanish?" "Your Majesty," the Chief Admiral spoke carefully. "We believe there may be a technical malfunction. Perhaps a solar storm disrupted their communications." "For 48 hours, across 300 ships?" The Emperor's voice rose. "Are you telling me that 300 separate communication systems all failed at exactly the same moment?" The Admiral said nothing. "Send scouts," the Emperor ordered. "Small, fast ships. I want to know what happened to Commander Thraz and his fleet. I want answers. Now." Within the hour, 5 scout ships launched from the nearest Zalthar military base. These were not warships. They were small, designed for speed and stealth. Each carried only 3 crew members. Captain Wrens commanded the lead scout ship, the Shadow Eye. He was older than most scouts, with scars across his face from 20 years of dangerous missions. He had survived pirate attacks, asteroid storms, and radiation zones. But as they approached Earth's border, his hands shook on the controls. "Captain," his co-pilot said softly, "the red line is ahead. Commander Thraz's fleet crossed at this exact location." Wrens nodded. "Scan for any ships. Maximum range." The scanner beeped and hummed. Then it lit up like a festival display. "Captain, I'm reading 300 contacts. All of them right past the border." "The fleet," Wrens breathed. "They're still there. Open a channel. Try to contact them." His communications officer tried every frequency, every channel, every emergency band. Silence. "Nothing, sir." "No response at all." "Maybe they can't transmit, but they can receive," Wrens said. "Send this message. This is Scout Team Alpha to Crimson Fang. Commander Thraz, please respond. The Emperor has sent us to assist you." They waited. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No answer came from any of the 300 ships. "Sir," the co-pilot said, his voice barely a whisper. "What do we do?" Wrens stared at the red line on his screen. Every instinct told him to run, to turn around and never look back. But the Emperor wanted answers. "We cross the border," he said. "Slow approach. Weapons ready. If anything happens, we retreat immediately." "Understood?" "Yes, sir." The 5 scout ships moved forward in tight formation. They crossed the invisible line that marked Earth's territory. Nothing happened. "Systems normal," the co-pilot reported. "Life support good. Engines good. Weapons online." Wrens let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Proceed to the fleet. Stay alert." As they flew closer, the 300 warships appeared on their view screens. They hung in space like frozen ghosts. Not moving, not firing, just floating. "That's strange," the scanner operator said. "I'm reading power signatures from all the ships. Their reactors are still running, but there's no engine activity, no weapon activity, nothing." The scout ships circled the massive fleet like tiny insects around sleeping giants. "Try to contact them again," Wrens ordered. "Crimson Fang. This is Scout Team Alpha. Commander Thraz, can you hear us?" Still nothing. "Sir, I recommend we board one of the ships," the co-pilot suggested. "We need to see what's inside." Wrens didn't want to. Every cell in his body screamed danger, but they needed answers. "Dock with the nearest destroyer. Prepare boarding equipment." The Shadow Eye attached itself to a Zalthar destroyer called Dark Thunder. Wrens and 4 soldiers put on their spacesuits and entered through the airlock. The lights inside the ship were on. The air was breathable. Everything looked normal, except there was no crew. "Where is everyone?" one soldier whispered. They walked through empty corridors. The control panel still glowed. Screens showed data. A half-eaten meal sat on a table in the crew quarters, still warm. It's like they just disappeared, another soldier said. They reached the bridge. Command chairs sat empty. The main view screen still displayed the flight path. The last entry in the ship's log was from 48 hours ago. Crossing Earth border now. Beginning invasion approach. All systems normal. Victory is... The log ended mid-sentence. Search the entire ship, Renz commanded. Every room. Every corridor. Find me one crew member. Just one. For 2 hours they searched. They found personal belongings. They found weapons still in their racks. They found clothes, food, equipment. Everything except people, 300 ships. 20,000 soldiers all gone. Captain. A soldier's voice crackled over the radio. You need to see this. Engineering deck. Renz rushed to engineering. The soldier pointed at something on the wall. Scratch marks. Deep gouges in the metal, as if made by claws. And written in the scratches over and over again were 2 words in the Zalthar language. They see, they see, they see. A cold feeling crawled up Renz's spine. Get back to the ship, he said quietly. Now, they returned to the Shadow Eye. Renz contacted the other scout ships. Status report. Did anyone find survivors? Negative, Captain. Every ship is empty, no bodies. No crew, nothing. We found the same thing, another scout reported. It's like 20,000 people just vanished into thin air. Renz made his decision. We're taking the Dark Thunder back with us. Hook up towing cables. The Emperor needs to see this. The scouts attached heavy cables to the abandoned destroyer. Slowly, carefully, they began pulling it back toward the border. They were 50 meters from the red line when it happened. Warning alarms screamed in every scout ship. Captain, the destroyer's reactor is going critical. What? That's impossible. We didn't touch anything. Temperature rising. Power surge in all systems. Cut the cables. Cut them now. But it was too late. The Dark Thunder exploded. The blast wave hit all 5 scout ships, sending them spinning through space. Renz's head slammed against his control panel. Blood ran down his face. Damage report, he shouted. Hull breach on Scout 3. Scout 5 lost engines. Get everyone back across the border. Go, go. The surviving scout ships limped back across the red line. As soon as they crossed it, their systems stabilized. Renz looked back at where the destroyer had been. Now there was only debris and fire. Sir, his co-pilot said, his face pale. The other ships, they're still just floating there. The explosion didn't affect them at all. It was true. The other 299 warships remained untouched, like the explosion had never happened. What kind of enemy are we fighting? Someone whispered. Renz had no answer. He opened a channel to Zalthar Command. This is Scout Team Alpha. Mission complete. We found the fleet. All ships intact but completely empty. No survivors. No bodies, no crew. Whatever the humans did, they took 20,000 soldiers without destroying a single ship. What are your recommendations? Command asked. Renz looked at the floating graveyard of ships. He thought about the scratch marks, the warning, the sudden explosion. Tell the Emperor, he said slowly, that Earth's border is not a defense line. It's a trap, and we just lost 300 ships to bait. Back on Earth, in a secret military facility, the same young soldier from before watched her screen. She saw the scout ships retreat. She saw them transmit their report. She pressed another button. Scout team has reported fleet status. They've seen what we wanted them to see. Her commander approached, coffee in hand. Did they try to take a ship? Yes, sir. It self-destructed as programmed. Good. And the real crews of those ships? The soldier smiled. Already back home, sir. Safe and sound. We teleported them out the moment their ships crossed the border. They're currently in our detention center, very confused but alive. Excellent. The commander sipped his coffee. Make sure no one else tries to cross that border for at least 48 hours. I want the galaxy to spread this story far and wide. And if the Zalthar send more ships, the commander's smile faded. Then we stopped playing nice. Those were just warnings. If they come again, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. In space, the 300 ghost ships continued their silent vigil, a monument to those who ignored Earth's warning. And across the galaxy, word began to spread. The second mistake, Emperor Vaxor sat on his throne, made of black crystal. His hands gripped the armrests so hard his knuckles turned white. Around him, his war council stood in nervous silence. "Empty," the Emperor said, his voice like ice. "You are telling me that 300 warships are simply empty?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Admiral Cross replied, bowing low. "Captain Renz's report is clear. Every ship intact, power still running, but no crew, no bodies, nothing. And when they tried to bring one ship back, it exploded the moment it crossed back over the border." The Emperor stood up slowly. His shadow stretched across the floor like a dark giant. "So the humans want to play games. They take our soldiers and leave their ships as trophies. They mock us." "Your Majesty," an old counselor spoke carefully. "Perhaps this is a sign. Perhaps we should negotiate." "Negotiate?" The Emperor's voice boomed through the throne room. "The Zalthar Empire does not negotiate with humans. We do not retreat. We do not surrender." He turned to his military command. "How many ships can we assemble in 1 week?" Admiral Cross hesitated. "Your Majesty, if we pull forces from all sectors, perhaps 1,000 ships." 1,000. The Emperor smiled coldly. "Good. Assemble them. This time we send someone who understands tactics, someone smart." "Who did you have in mind, Your Majesty?" "Admiral Von." "The strategist." Whispers spread through the council. Admiral Von was legendary. In 50 battles, he had never lost. He was called the strategist because he studied his enemies like a scientist studies insects. He predicted their moves before they made them. "Von retired 3 years ago," Admiral Cross said. "He lives in isolation on Zalthar 4. "Then bring him back," the Emperor commanded. "Tell him his Emperor needs him. Tell him I want the humans crushed." 1 week later, Admiral Von stood on the bridge of the supercarrier Eternal Victory. He was older than most military officers, with grey skin and tired eyes. But his mind was sharp as ever. Behind his ship, 999 warships waited in perfect formation. The second fleet, bigger than the first, better prepared. "Admiral," his tactical officer said, "we are approaching Earth's border. The Ghost Fleet is visible on scanners." Von nodded slowly. He had spent the entire week studying every detail about Commander Thraz's disappearance. He had interviewed Captain Renz 3 times. He had analyzed the scratch marks found on the destroyer. He had watched recordings of the explosion, and he had formed a theory. "The humans used some kind of weapon that affects living beings," Von said aloud, organizing his thoughts. "The ships were not destroyed. The crews vanished. But when the scouts tried to take a ship back, it exploded." "What does that mean, sir?" his second-in-command asked. "It means the humans want us to be afraid. They want us to see those empty ships and feel fear. It's psychological warfare." Von smiled slightly. "Very clever. But I've fought psychological warfare before." "So what's our strategy?" "We don't send living beings first," Von said. "We send robots." On the view screen, 3 large cargo ships moved forward from the fleet. Each one carried 100 combat robots, mechanical soldiers with no minds to affect, no fear to exploit. "Launch the robots," Von ordered. 300 robots jetted out into space. They flew in perfect formation toward the red line. The entire fleet watched on their screens. The robots crossed Earth's border. 5 seconds passed. 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Nothing happened. "Robot systems normal," the tactical officer reported. "All 300 units responding. No malfunctions." "Send them deeper into human territory," Von commanded. 1,000 kilometers past the border. The robots flew further. Still nothing happened. "Life signs from the Ghost Fleet?" Von asked. "Negative, sir. Still completely empty." Von nodded, satisfied. "Just as I thought. The humans have a weapon that only affects biological beings. It probably works through some kind of neural connection or brain frequency. Robots are immune. His officers looked at each other, hope growing on their faces. Does this mean we can proceed safely? Someone asked. Not yet, Vaughn said. Bring the robots back. Have them dock with our ships. We'll examine them thoroughly. If they're clean, we'll know the border is safe to cross. The 300 robots returned to the fleet. Engineers immediately began scanning them, checking every circuit, every wire, every piece of code. All clear, Admiral. No tampering detected, no viruses, no strange signals. The robots are exactly as they were when we sent them. Vaughn stroked his chin thoughtfully. The humans must have been surprised to see robots. They probably expected living soldiers. Their weapon was useless. So we have the advantage now, a young captain said excitedly. Perhaps, Vaughn said. But I didn't survive 50 battles by being careless. We proceed slowly, weapons armed, shields at maximum. Half the fleet crosses first. If something happens, the other half retreats immediately. The officers nodded. It was a good plan, a smart plan. All ships, prepare to advance, Vaughn announced across the fleet channel. Groups Alpha through Echo, move forward on my mark. Groups Zeta through Omega, hold position and maintain firing solutions. 500 warships powered up their engines, on my mark. 3, 2, 1, advance. The first wave crossed Earth's border. Nothing happened. Systems normal, crew alive and well. Weapons functional. Status report, Vaughn demanded. All ships report green across the board, sir. No anomalies detected. Proceed to the Ghost Fleet. Maintain combat spacing. The 500 ships moved deeper into human territory. They passed the empty vessels from Commander Thraz's fleet. Those ships still floated silently, like monuments to the missing 20,000 soldiers. 10 minutes inside the border, the tactical officer announced. Still no sign of human ships, no attacks, no interference. Vaughn frowned. This was too easy. Where were the humans? Where were their defenses? Admiral, should we signal the second wave to cross? Vaughn almost said yes. Then he stopped. 50 battles, 50 victories. He had won them all by trusting his instincts, and right now, every instinct screamed danger. Not yet, he said. Something feels wrong. But sir, we've been inside their territory for 10 minutes. Nothing has happened. Maybe they're afraid to. Every screen in the fleet went black. Then a message appeared. Simple white text on black background, just like before. You had your warning. What? Where did that come from? Vaughn demanded. Unknown, sir. It's appearing on every ship simultaneously. Block it. Override the lights flickered. Sir, main computer is rebooting. That's impossible. Our systems have triple firewalls. Weapon. Systems offline. Engines not responding. Life support failing. All across the fleet, 500 warships began going dark. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Just stopping. What's happening? Someone shouted. Vaughn's mind raced. Then understanding hit him like a hammer. The robots, he whispered. The robots we sent. They brought something back with them. What do you mean? Sir, a virus. A human virus. We scanned the robots for physical tampering, but we didn't check their memory cores deep enough. The humans let them cross safely. They planted a virus in their systems. When we brought the robots back to the fleet, the virus spread to every ship that docked with them. The tactical officer's face went pale. But we examined them. We found nothing. Because we were looking for the wrong thing. Vaughn slammed his fist on the console. The humans are smarter than I thought. They knew we'd use robots. They planned for it. On the main view screen, something new appeared. Small ships, dozens of them, emerging from behind Earth's moon. They were sleek and fast, nothing like the massive warships of the Zalthar Empire. Human ships. A transmission came through, a voice, calm and almost friendly. Zalthar Fleet, this is Captain Sarah Chen of Earth Defense. Your ships are currently experiencing total systems failure. You have two options. Option 1, leave. We will release your ships once you retreat past our border. Option 2, stay. Your crews will be fine, but your ships become part of our collection. Vaughn stared at the screen. 500 warships, the pride of the Zalthar military, now floating helplessly like leaves on water. Option 1 also comes with a message, the human captain continued. Go back and tell your emperor that Earth's border is not a challenge. It's not an insult. It's a courtesy. We're giving you a line and saying please don't cross it. Most species understand courtesy. Admiral, his second-in-command whispered, what do we do? Vaughn had fought 50 battles. He had faced pirates, mercenaries, and enemy empires. He had won every single time. But he had never fought an enemy like this. An enemy that didn't just defeat you, they made you defeat yourself. Signal the human captain, Vaughn said quietly. Tell her we accept option 1, sir. Do it. The message was sent. Very wise, Admiral, Captain Chen replied. Stand by. We're releasing your ships now. One by one, the systems came back online. Engines powered up, weapon systems rebooted, life support stabilized. All ships, Vaughn said into the fleet channel, his voice heavy with defeat. Retreat to the border. Maximum speed. The 500 ships turned around and fled back across the red line. The second wave, seeing what happened, had already begun backing away. As they crossed back into neutral space, Vaughn looked at the sensors. The human ships didn't follow. They simply returned to wherever they came from, disappearing as quickly as they had appeared. Admiral, the tactical officer said, should we report this to the Emperor? Vaughn thought about Emperor Vaxor, his pride, his rage, his refusal to accept defeat. Yes, Vaughn said tiredly. Report everything. Tell him exactly what happened. Tell him the humans beat us without firing a single shot. Tell him they're not lucky. They're not using tricks. They're just better than us. Will he listen? Vaughn looked at the Earth on his view screen, that small blue planet in the distance. No, he said. He won't. Back on Earth, Captain Sarah Chen sat in her command chair drinking tea. Around her, the control room buzzed with quiet activity. All Zalthar ships have retreated, Captain, a lieutenant reported. Good. How many ships in their fleet? 1,000 total. 500 crossed the border, and our virus worked perfectly. Planted in the robot memory cores, completely undetectable until activated. Spread to every ship in under 5 minutes, Sarah smiled. The oldest trick in the book. Give your enemy exactly what they expect, and hide the real attack inside it. Captain, another officer said, intelligence reports the Zalthar Emperor is extremely angry. They're predicting he might try again. Sarah's smile faded. How many more times do we have to teach them this lesson? As many as it takes, ma'am. She sighed and looked at the display showing Earth's border. The ghost fleet still floated there. Now 500 more ships would have a story to tell. Increase border patrols, she ordered, and start preparing Defense Protocol 3 if they come back a third time. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. In the cold void of space, the red line glowed softly. A warning, a boundary, a promise. And somewhere in the Zalthar Empire, an emperor refused to understand. The galaxy watched and waited. The worst was yet to come. The truth revealed. The Galactic Council Chamber was ancient, built thousands of years ago when the first civilizations learned to travel between stars. The massive circular room could hold representatives from 100 different species. Today, every seat was filled. Ambassador Takar of the Krell Confederation stood at the central podium. His old scaled hands trembled as he gripped the speaking stone. Honored members of the council, he began. His voice amplified across the chamber. We are here today to discuss the human problem. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some species nodded. Others shifted nervously in their seats. 2 Zalthar fleets have now disappeared or retreated from Earth's border, Takar continued. First, 300 ships vanished completely. Second, 1,000 ships were disabled without a single shot fired. The Zalthar Emperor is preparing a third fleet. We must understand what we are dealing with before more lives are lost. A representative from the Vrax Unity stood up. Her voice was sharp, angry. Why are we discussing this? The Zalthar attacked Earth. Earth defended itself. This is not our problem. It becomes our problem, Takar replied. when the Zalthar decide to use their full military might. If they commit their entire empire to attacking Earth, 10,000 ships, maybe more, the resulting conflict could destabilize this entire sector of space. "Let them fight," another voice called out. "Let the Zalthar learn their lesson. And what if they win?" Takar asked quietly. "What if they finally break through Earth's defenses? What then? Do we have a Zalthar empire drunk on victory, convinced they can conquer anyone? Or what if Earth wins decisively and decides they don't want to stop at their border? We know nothing about human intentions, nothing about their true capabilities." The chamber fell silent. "That is why I propose," Takar said, "that we share information. Every species here has had some contact with humans over the past 200 years. Small encounters, brief meetings. Perhaps together we can understand what makes them so dangerous." He looked around the room. "Who will speak first?" For a long moment no one moved. Then slowly an ambassador from the Thorian hive stood. She was insect-like, with multiple arms and compound eyes that glittered in the chamber's light. "We will share our story," she said. The lights dimmed. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing a star system with 3 planets. 112 years ago, the Thorian ambassador began. "Our hive colony on Kepler 442b was thriving. 3 million Thorians living peacefully. Then humans arrived. Not soldiers, just explorers. 5 humans in one small ship. The hologram showed a tiny vessel approaching the planet. They asked permission to land. We granted it. They seemed weak, soft bodies. No natural weapons, no armor. They needed machines just to breathe our atmosphere. The hologram showed humans in spacesuits walking among giant insect-like Thorians. For 3 weeks there were no problems. The humans studied our culture. They traded technology. They seemed friendly. Then one of them, a female scientist, discovered something. The hologram changed, showing a Thorian commander standing over what looked like human prisoners. She discovered that we were keeping human colonists from another ship as slaves. 20 humans captured a year earlier. We used them for labor in our deep mines. Gasps echoed through the council chamber. The female scientist didn't threaten us. She didn't call for help. She simply said, "You have 24 hours to release them." We laughed. 5 humans demanding we free our slaves? Impossible. The Thorian ambassador's voice grew quieter. 24 hours later, our entire colony went silent. Communication systems stopped working. Power grids failed. Water purification plants shut down. Everything that kept 3 million Thorians alive just stopped. "How?" someone in the audience asked. The 5 humans had planted something in our computer systems during their visit. A dormant virus that activated exactly 24 hours later. They brought our entire civilization on that planet to its knees without firing a weapon. The hologram showed chaos, Thorians running through dark streets. Panic spreading. We released the human slaves immediately. The moment we did, all our systems came back online. The 5 humans took their people and left. Before they departed, the female scientist sent us a message. We could have killed everyone. Remember that. The Thorian ambassador sat down heavily. We never kept slaves again. We never challenged humans again. 5 of them defeated 3 million of us in one day. Another ambassador stood. This one was from the Pelax Trade Union, a species that looked like walking crystals. "We have a similar story," the Pelax representative said. 60 years ago, a group of human merchants came to our trading hub. They were polite, professional. They wanted to establish trade routes, but we made a mistake. The hologram changed again, showing a bustling space station. We tried to cheat them. We sold them defective engine parts, overcharged them, gave them false star maps. We thought they wouldn't notice. They were new to galactic trade. The Pelax representative's crystalline body flickered with what might have been embarrassment. 3 days after they left, every ship in our trading hub started receiving messages. Lists. Detailed lists of every illegal transaction we had ever made. Every bribe, every smuggling operation, every tax we had avoided. The humans had hacked our entire financial network while pretending to be foolish merchants. What did they want? Someone asked. Nothing. They just sent the information to every law enforcement agency in the sector. Within a month, our trading hub was shut down. 17 of our leaders went to prison. We lost everything. The crystalline being's light dimmed. The last message we received from the humans said, honesty would have been cheaper. Story after story followed, each one more disturbing than the last. The Meklar Dominion told of human pirates who infiltrated their military base and stole advanced weapons, not with force, but by simply walking through the front door disguised as Meklar soldiers. Humans studied their target so perfectly that even genetic scanners couldn't tell the difference. The silicoid, collective shared recordings of humans surviving on a planet where the atmosphere was pure poison and the temperature could melt metal. The humans built a colony there anyway. When the silicoids asked how, the humans said, Earth was like this once. We learned. The Xenon Republic described human negotiators who seemed to read minds. Every argument, every strategy the Xenon prepared, the humans had already predicted. Later they discovered the humans weren't telepathic. They were just incredibly good at reading body language, analyzing patterns and understanding psychology. Each story painted the same picture. Humans were adaptable, intelligent and absolutely ruthless when threatened. Finally, Ambassador Takar stood again. The chamber had been talking for 6 hours. Everyone looked exhausted. Thank you all for sharing, Takar said. But none of this explains what happened at Earth's border. How did they make 20,000 soldiers vanish? How did they disable an entire fleet without weapons? Perhaps, a quiet voice said from the back of the chamber, you are asking the wrong question. Everyone turned. An ancient being floated forward. It was a precursor, one of the oldest races in the galaxy, so old that most species thought they were extinct. The question is not, how did they do it? The precursor said in a voice like wind through caves. The question is, why haven't they done worse? What do you mean? Takar asked. I have studied humans for 200 years, the precursor said. I've watched them expand from one planet to dozens. I have seen their technology grow, and I have learned something that terrifies me. The being's eyes, ancient and deep as black holes, swept across the chamber. Humans are afraid. Afraid? Someone laughed. They just defeated 2 Zalthar fleets. Yes, the precursor said, and they are terrified. Do you know why they built that border? Why they mark it so clearly? Why they give warnings? Silence. Because they are afraid of what they will do if you push them too far. The precursor projected a new hologram. It showed Earth, blue and beautiful. Earth is what we call a death world. Most species in this galaxy evolved on planets where life is easy. Gentle gravity, stable climate, few predators. But Earth? The precursor's voice grew heavy. Earth tried to kill humans every single day of their evolution. The hologram showed images, massive storms, erupting volcanoes, ice ages, diseases, predators with teeth as long as arms. Humans evolved by fighting, the precursor continued. Fighting nature, fighting disease, fighting each other. Every generation that survived made them stronger, smarter, more dangerous. Do you know how many species went extinct on Earth? 99%. Humans survived by being the most adaptable, most resilient, most creative species on their planet. The hologram showed human history, wars, plagues, disasters, and humans surviving all of it. But here is what you need to understand, the precursor said. And now their voice was almost a whisper. Humans remember. They carry the memory of every struggle, every death, every war in their collective consciousness. When the Zalthar crossed that border, do you know what the humans did? No one answered. They showed the Zalthar what it means to be human. They projected their history, their pain, their survival directly into the minds of those soldiers. 20,000 Zalthar felt for just a moment what it was like to live on Earth, to fight for survival every day, to face extinction and refuse to die. That's impossible, someone said. No species can project thoughts like that. You're right, the precursor agreed. No species can, but humans aren't doing it with technology. They're doing it with something they call killing intent. When enough humans focus their will, their survival instinct, their determination to protect their home, it becomes a weapon. A psychic weapon born from millions of years of evolution on a death world. The chamber erupted in shocked conversation. That's why the ships were empty, someone realized. The Zalthar crews felt human survival instinct, and it drove them mad. Or scared them so badly they fled into another dimension, another suggested. Or the humans simply captured them all, a third voice said. Because while the Zalthar were paralyzed with fear, humans walked onto those ships and took everyone prisoner. Ambassador Takar raised his hands for silence. So what you're saying is, Earth's border isn't defended by weapons. It's defended by the collective will of the entire human species? Exactly, the precursor said. Every human on Earth and their colonies, all linked together in one defensive network. Any enemy that crosses that border feels the combined survival instinct of billions of humans. Most species' minds cannot handle it. Then how do we stop the Zalthar from attacking again? Takar asked desperately. The precursor floated toward the exit. At the door, they turned back. You don't, they said simply. You let them attack. You let them cross that border one more time. And you let them learn what we all learned. Humans built that border not to keep us out, but to keep themselves in. They're protecting us from what they might become if we force them to fight. The precursor disappeared, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. Ambassador Takar looked around at all the different species. Fear showed on every face. Motion to contact the Zalthar Emperor, Takar said quietly. We must convince him to stop before it's too late. All in favor. Every single hand, claw, tentacle, and appendage rose. The vote was unanimous, but deep down, Takar knew the truth. The Emperor would not listen, and soon, the galaxy would see what happened when you pushed humans too far. On Earth, in that same secret command center, Captain Sarah Chen received a report. The Galactic Council just voted to send a delegation to the Zalthar Empire. They're going to try to stop a third attack. Sarah nodded slowly. Will it work? Intelligence says no. The Emperor is too proud. Sarah looked at her display showing the border. The ghost fleet still floated there, a warning no one seemed to understand. Then we prepare for the worst, she said. Activate Defense Protocol 4. Full mobilization. If they come again... She paused, choosing her words carefully. If they come again, we stop being polite. Her second-in-command swallowed hard. Defense Protocol 4, ma'am. That's the one where we don't take prisoners. I know what it is. But the casualties will be their responsibility, not ours, Sarah said firmly. We gave them a warning. We gave them a second chance. If there's a third time, it means they want war. And if they want war, she looked at her officer with cold, determined eyes. Then we'll show them what humans learned after surviving 4 billion years on a death world. We'll show them why we marked that border. We'll show them why we tried so hard to keep them out. And what's that, Captain? Sarah's expression didn't change. Because once we start fighting, we don't know how to stop. The red line glowed in space, marking Earth's territory. 2 fleets had crossed it and learned harsh lessons. A third was being prepared. And this time, the humans would not be merciful. The galaxy held its breath and waited for the storm. The final warning Emperor Vaxa stood alone in his war room, staring at a holographic map of the galaxy. Red markers showed his empire, 47 conquered worlds. 1 small blue dot marked Earth, just 1 planet. 1 insignificant world, and it had humiliated him 3 times. The door opened. Admiral Vaughn entered, walking slowly. He looked older than before, tired. Your Majesty, Vaughn said, bowing slightly. The Galactic Council has sent a delegation. They are in the throne room waiting to speak with you. Let them wait, Vaxa said coldly. I know why they're here. They want me to stop, to give up, to accept defeat from humans. Your Majesty, perhaps we should listen. No. The Emperor slammed his fist on the table. The holographic map flickered. I will not listen to their fear. I will not let one species make the entire galaxy think the Zalthar Empire is weak. Vaughn said nothing. He had tried to explain what happened at the border. The Emperor refused to hear it. How many ships do we have now? Vaxer asked. Total. If we pull every single vessel from every system we control. 5,000 ships. 5,000. The Emperor smiled. More than enough. Your Majesty, Vaughn said carefully. If we commit our entire fleet to this attack and fail, we will have no defenses left. Our empire will be vulnerable to... We will not fail. Vaxa's voice echoed in the room. This time I will lead the fleet myself. I will cross that border. I will see these humans with my own eyes. And I will prove to the galaxy that the Zalthar Empire fears nothing. Vaughn closed his eyes. He had fought 50 battles and won them all. But he knew when a fight was already lost. When do we leave? Vaughn asked quietly. Tomorrow, the Emperor said. Gather the fleet. Send word to every system. Their Emperor goes to war. And this time, we will not return until Earth kneels before us. The next day, the largest military fleet in Zalthar history assembled in space. 5,000 warships arranged in perfect formation. Every ship carried weapons capable of destroying continents. Every crew was trained for war, and at the center of this massive fleet, on the largest battleship ever built, the Emperor's Wrath, Vaxa sat on a throne, made especially for this journey. All ships report ready. Your Majesty, Admiral Vaughn said from the command station. Then we proceed, Vaxa commanded. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. Today, the galaxy watches us reclaim our honor. The fleet moved forward like a metal ocean, engines blazing across the darkness of space. On Earth, alarms sounded in every military installation on the planet. Captain Sarah Chen ran into the command center, still pulling on her uniform. Report! 5,000 Zalthar ships approaching, ma'am, a lieutenant said, his voice shaking. They'll reach our border in 6 hours. 5,000. Sarah felt her stomach drop. Are we sure about that number? Yes, ma'am. Confirmed by multiple scans. It's their entire empire's fleet, and intelligence reports the Emperor himself is leading them. Sarah stood frozen for a moment. Then she pressed a button on her console. This is Captain Chen, emergency protocol. Contact the President immediately. Wake up the Joint Chiefs. Activate all defense stations. This is not a drill. Within minutes, the President of Earth appeared on her screen, looking grave. Captain, I've reviewed the reports. 5,000 ships. Yes, Mr. President, far more than we anticipated. Can we handle them? Sarah hesitated. Our previous tactics won't work on a fleet this size. We disabled 1,000 ships before, but 5,000. Our defensive network isn't designed for that scale. What are our options? We have 3 choices, sir. 1. We negotiate. Try to talk them down before they reach the border. 2. We use Defense Protocol 4, maximum force, lethal response. Or 3. Sarah took a deep breath. We show them the truth, everything. No tricks, no games. We let the Emperor cross the border and experience what his soldiers experienced. But we do it directly. Personally. Isn't that what we did to the First Fleet? No, sir. With the First Fleet, we used a fraction of our capability, just enough to scare them. This time we show them the full weight of human history. Every war, every disaster, every moment of survival. We make him understand exactly what kind of species he's challenging. The President was quiet for a long moment. And if that doesn't work, then we use Protocol 4, and there will be no Zalthar Empire left to threaten anyone. Let's try option 3 first, the President said. But Sarah, be ready for option 4. If this Emperor is foolish enough to attack after seeing the truth, then we finish this. Permanently. Understood, Mr. President. The screen went dark. Sarah turned to her command staff. Prepare the neural network. I want every human with defensive training linked and ready. 7 billion minds all connected. When that Emperor crosses our border, he's going to feel what it truly means to be human. 6 hours later, the Zalthar fleet arrived at Earth's border. The ghost fleet from the first attack still floated there. 300 empty ships like tombstones. The fleet from the second attack was gone. The humans had towed those ships away after releasing the crews. Emperor Vaxer stood on his bridge, looking at the red line that marked Earth's territory. There it is, he said. The line that has stopped my empire. Today we erase it forever. Your Majesty, Admiral Vaughn said one last time, I am begging you, turn back. Whatever is beyond that line, it's not worth. Silence, Vaxer shouted. I am tired of fear, tired of warnings, tired of humans thinking they can threaten us. He pointed at the view screen. All ships, advance. We cross the border together. 5,000 ships moving as one. Let the humans try to stop us. The massive fleet powered forward. They reached the red line and they crossed it. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then Emperor Vaxor felt something he had never felt before in his entire life. It started as a whisper in his mind. Voices. Millions of voices. Billions. What? What is this? He gasped. The voices grew louder. They weren't speaking, they were showing him things. Images flooded into his brain. He saw Earth, not the peaceful blue planet from space. He saw Earth as it truly was. He saw humans fighting massive predators with teeth like swords. He saw humans freezing in ice ages that lasted thousands of years. He saw diseases that killed millions. He saw volcanoes that turned the sky black. He saw meteors that ended entire eras of life. And through it all, humans survived. He saw their wars. Thousands of years of humans fighting each other, with weapons that grew more terrible with each generation. Swords, guns, bombs, nuclear fire that could destroy entire cities in seconds. And still they survived. He felt their pain. Every parent who lost a child, every soldier who died in battle, every person who starved, who suffered, who watched their world burn, and still they survived. Make it stop, Vaxor whispered, falling to his knees. Please, make it stop. But it didn't stop. Now he felt something worse. He felt what humans felt when they were threatened, when they were pushed into a corner, when they had to choose between surrender and extinction. They chose extinction. Every single time he saw human history, civilizations that burned their own cities rather than let enemies take them. Soldiers who fought to the last breath, even when defeat was certain. Scientists who built weapons that could destroy their own planet if it meant their enemies couldn't have it. Humans didn't fight to win. They fought because stopping meant dying, and death was just another enemy to fight. We are not warriors, a voice said in his mind. It was Captain Sarah Chen, speaking directly into his consciousness. We are survivors. There is a difference. Warriors fight for glory, for honor, for conquest. Survivors fight because the alternative is non-existence. And we have been surviving for 4 billion years. Vaxor screamed. His hands clutched his head. Around him on the bridge, every member of his crew was on the floor, experiencing the same thing. You wanted to know why we marked this border. Sarah's voice continued. You wanted to know what weapon we used. Emperor Vaxor, we have no weapon. What you're feeling right now is simply human memory. The collective experience of every human who ever lived. Every struggle. Every victory against impossible odds. Every refusal to surrender. Images kept flooding his mind. He saw human children learning to fight. He saw human artists creating beauty in the middle of wars. He saw human philosophers questioning everything, even their own mortality. He saw human scientists splitting atoms, exploring space, pushing boundaries that other species said were impossible. We are not the strongest species, Sarah said. We are not the smartest. We are not the fastest or the most advanced, but we are the most stubborn. We are the species that looked at a universe trying to kill us and said no. Vaxor felt tears streaming down his face. Tears of pain, tears of understanding, tears of absolute terror. Your fleet crossed our border 3 times, Sarah continued. 3 times we held back. 3 times we gave you chances to leave. We didn't want to hurt you. We didn't want war. We just wanted you to understand one simple truth. The images stopped. The voices faded. Vaxor found himself kneeling on his bridge, gasping for air. Sarah's voice spoke one last time, quiet but clear.